All right, recording now. So, yeah, I'm just gonna hand it off to Hin, and you can talk about the CLI work that he did.
Awesome. Thank you, Alex. So let me share my screen first. So thank you for joining this community meeting. So I'm going to share to you a new way of interacting with Harbor. So my name is Hin Lam. I'm the advisory platform architect from VMware based in Hong Kong. So I belongs to a team called Application Platform Architect (APA) team, which is non R&D and non-product team. So this is the reason why this Harbor CRI is an official one. So, but before that, let me introduce like some details. Like I typically work with various area in Kubernetes, in operations, in like machine learning, infrastructure, and code. If you're interested, feel free to keep contact with me. So with that, without further ado, there is an official Harbor CLI that you can download from GitHub already. The URL already lists out in the diagram from the GitHub. On the right hand side, you can download the release. From the release, you can download the CLI, which interestingly, it is this CLI is written in Java, and I will go a little bit in deep into how this Harbor CLI was built and the process to generate that. So while maybe you're interested in downloading that, maybe I should jump into why Harbor CLI. So Harbor has a very nicely designed UI, nicely designed web interfaces, and it has a plenty of a RESTful API. So our team, the APA team, actually working on some DevSecOps initiative, which require us to integrate Harbor into the whole CI/CD pipeline, which means that when we build the CI/CD pipeline, we have to interact with Harbor, with the REST API, which proven to be quite a lot of moving parts for us. So think about a different API call. You do the login, you get the BLR token, and then you do the actions, and then you build the JSON request and respond. From there, that will take a bunch of energy from us. So that's why the reason why I create that is we have a solid use case to make sure that our DevSecOps pipeline can be easily integrated with Harbor using minimum effort, and that's why I created this Harbor CRI initiative. And obviously, it's a benefit to do automation and repeatability because we have many use cases that we can tear down the Harbor itself and then re-establish all the user, all the project using the same sets of shell script, and it is super easy to understand for human. Like how do you create a project? How do you list a project? So I have a record some of the interactions of the Harbor command line itself. So when you already download the Harbor CLI from the release, you create an alias to tell, hey, I want to use Harbor. Maybe I should restart this demo. So this recording. So we just create an alias for you to easy consume. It's actually behind that is just a java-jar running that. So the command line itself is a fat jar. So it is a self-contained. Obviously, in future, we could compile it down to a binary file, but at this moment, we are asking for contributor to help us to do that. And then you can see the Harbor command is just Harbor, and then the API you want to call like project in this case, and then you do the create itself, or you can list out everything. So you can see the interaction here is you tell the Harbor command to do an action, it will return a JSON response to you, or in some cases, no news is good news. And then it has most of the features, most of the API embedded the command line itself, so that you can call that. So I know recording is a little bit boring, so that's why I will show you a live demo. So the features that we have in this command line is when you do Harbor command, you can actually use a help command to see, hey, what kind of subcommand I have. So these commands are dynamically generated. I didn't hard code any of them. It actually automatically discover from the SDK itself. I will go into SDK a little bit more later on. So if you use Harbor project, so this is the API exposed by Harbor. So you can see the Harbor definitions from the Harbor, and then there is a Harbor API version 2.0. And from there, you will be redirected to the Swagger definitions, Open API definition that you can show here. So I'm actually calling project. I'm actually calling this API, and API obviously has tons of endpoint. So that's why in the project, I use a help command, maybe a little bit small on the screen. So, and then you can see head, get log, get summary, create update list. It's actually mapped to everything listed here. So you can see head, post, get log, get summary, delete, everything's here. Okay. So for example, I do a list command here. I will be able to connect to my Harbor, which to help some promotion, we have like a demo.goharbor.io, which is a pre-deployed Harbor from the Harbor team for you to use that to try out Harbor. Obviously, it is a temporary one, so it will got like refreshed every few days. But it's a good idea to try it before you install it. So once you have the command issue, it will actually make API call to Harbor. And obviously, because you actually have to log into there. So in this command, it also has a login. It also has a login command, which require to input the username, password, API endpoint, and then it will save a credential into your local computer, so that every time you do Harbor list, Harbor command, it will just refresh the fetch the local credential and make the request for you, so that you don't have to log in every single time when you make request. Okay, so is it also a JSON output? Probably like if I do a project list, I can JQ it, use a JQ to see, hey, how it looks like. So it's easier for you to do integrations and process it further in your next stage. Okay, and then we also have parameter hints and help message. So it will actually show you if I want a project create, what kind of parameter is required for me to do it. Like I can input a project, I can specify how the project should looks like. In this case, because a project can contain a lot of stuff like the name, you can see below what is the CVE allowed to, what will be the um, is it public? Is it like CV allowed list there? So it has a tons of types inside. So that's why here we have list out. If you have this kind of command parameter, you don't need to specify too many things. You can actually specify it in a JSON file. In this case, I am actually specifying the project should call a hint test CLI, and it should not be a public project. So I can change the name for this one, like CNCF, okay? And then I can use Harbor project create project in CLI project.json, and it will make a request and then submit this JSON file as the data structure to the Harbor command line. And now in the interface, I should see a new project created programmatically using this command. Um, oops, securities. Okay, so you can see this is like CNCF key test here. So this is just created by the application, by the command line. Okay, so and then we have support most API exposed by Harbor, including the latest API and the legacy version of the API. So I will show you much more detail next. Okay, so the interest part is how this command line is built. So for Harbor, it has like over 100 API endpoints. So the problem is I don't have that much time to type in every single command in Harbor and then make the signature correct and the JSON and the everything submit to the RESTful API correct. So I use a way to generate. First of all, I visit Harbor, the Go Harbor official repo, which it contains two open API specifications, and then I use open API generator to generate a client Java. So this client Java is a repo that contains all the as a wrapper to that contains all the API requests, response model in it. And then for the Harbor CLI, it used Java's reflections. So it actually goes to the Java client to say, hey, do you have that API? Do you have that parameter? How the request response looks like? And then it will add it into the CLI command interface using a library called Pico CLI, and then present to the user on this one. So that's why the items you see here, none of them is hard-coded. It's actually from the Java client, which was generated from the Swagger. So we have a lot stepped. Like if the upstream update, we just regenerate the client Java, and then we recompile the Harbor CLI to include the latest version of that. And then the user will be able to enjoy the new CLI format. So for that, that's why in this project, we are not just generating the CLI, but we also provide open source the generated Java client. Actually, that's the CI/CD pipeline for the GitHub that you can run it yourself and then download the library. There is also a similar sections that you can download the CLI, and you if you have a Java developer, then you can use like include Java into this Java client to directly talk to Harbor without using the CLI. But the CLI has a dependency on Java client itself. Okay, so next is we actually got two CLI. The first one is called, well, swagger.json. It's mainly taking care of the new part of the open API from Harbor. Is like project, preheat, artifact. And the legacy API is taking care of system level, such as the user account, the product settings, the global settings. So therefore, there are two Harbor clients because of this. So as far as I know, the team will gradually move existing legacy API to the newer API. So expect in the future there will be more functionality in the API, but at the same time, you can download both. You can see the command looks different, but then you can use in the same patterns as I described before. Okay, so with that, I think I have concluded the Harbor CLI itself. So if you are interested in using Harbor CLI and if you want to try that out, please feel free to download and contribute to the open source project. And also there is a blog post that I published it in Medium that shows exactly how the steps in a much more digestible form of how it's made and why we make some design choice for that. So although this is an official API, this is an official CLI, that hasn't been endorsed by the official, well, the CNCF project yet, but please feel free to contribute and give us feedback, and hopefully one day it has a quality, high quality enough to make it into the official release for that. So for that, any questions, anything that you would like to ask? Okay, so if not,
Yeah, I have a question. So have
yes,
you
please. Mhm.
first question is, what is the long-term goal for this? Like, how do you? I know you talked about why you built this, but what is the path forward for this project? Just
Yeah, I
independent of
think
whether we put it into whether
mhm.
we endorse it as the official CLI for the project.
I think the long-term goal is pretty straightforward because fundamentally it has a lockstep design. That's why first of all we we're avoiding it from outdated or degraded too much. And then on top of that, the CLI should have a lot more functionalities, such as automatic generate the model type, like the JSON file you saw, and then there is like a binary release, like right now it's Java, but we should combine to individual OS platform, like it can run as an exe in Windows. And then obviously there are some discussions about in VMware about some command line integrations between different product, and openly we have some other interface that uh, could work in Harbor. If we have a new plugin interface in this open source Harbor CLI, that will allows the operator to automate furthermore. So I think these are some long-term goals that we could work together. It is not just myself determined, because it's a community. I just contribute to a community that everybody can have their angle of like contributions of that. So
Got it. Got it. Thank you. Thanks a lot for the presentation, Hin. Does anyone else have any questions for Hin? I just want to say thanks, and I want to say, it's great that you worked on this on your own before you reached out to us. I think there's tremendous value to have something like this. Yeah, it's very impressive.
Yeah, thanks, Lin. I would also like to express my appreciation for this initiative. I think next action item is that so we can discuss the to-do item and follow up, and to merge this into our repo.
sure. I also believe this also is a good demonstration of the openness for contributing to Hub, because if I'm not even in the core team, or in the inside of like contribute before, so this is my first time contribute, and I believe this is a very good demonstration of everybody can contribute to improve and make things happen in CNCF projects. Okay, so with that, maybe I should hand over to the next speaker.
Okay. Yeah, sure. So I'm actually not sure who the next speaker is, but I I'm not sure who the speaker. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
My
Can
name
you
is
introduce yourself and
Xiangshan Li, and
the work that you did for the tensor security scanner integration?
yeah. Uh, my name is Xiangshan Li, and I'm from Tensor Security, a startup in China. We are here for presenting a Harbor a scanner adapter for Harbor, and I will
Very
share
cool.
the screen.
Yep, I can see it.
Could you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Could you see? Wait. Sorry. Wait for a minute.
Yeah, we can see your screen. Oh, there it goes. But we could see your screen.
Okay. Could you see the screen?
Yes, I can see the browser and your CLI.
Okay. We have yeah. We have deployed our scanner in our Kubernetes cluster, and you could see we have several components for our scanners, and this is the Harbor interface UI deployed in our cluster, and we could add our scanners in the interrogation services panel, and I actually I just added a demo scanner uh, several minutes ago, and this is the scanner I just added, and I just set it as default, and the scanning is on the process, and uh, uh, the difference what our scanner is doing more than others is that we integrated several vulnerability databases in China, and we also added more functions into the scanning, like scanning the uh, I just find an example. Yeah, you could see in the TensorStack PostgreSQL images, we can scanning not only the CVE vulnerabilities, and also we can scanning for the files that maybe they have some leaks of like public keys or possible leaks of public keys, or this is the functions we added to our scanners, and we support CVE or CNVD, the database, and also the database from the Red Hat.
Can I ask a question? Hello?
Yeah, I can hear you. Just
Master. May I beg your pardon, please?
Okay, I have a question about the data you return. You mean your scanner provides some extra capability, like return some misconfigure or some fair, but fair's mirror, right? But I have a little confusion because the CVE, it's from some upstream database, right? And you return the fares together with the CVE, that will increase the total number of the CVE. That will maybe make the severity of the artifact is not accurate. I'm not sure if you get my question.
Yeah, you mean that we add the possible leakable these files into the list of the vulnerabilities. They may increase the number of vulnerabilities, but accurately they are not vulnerabilities.
Yeah. So how do you define the severity of those items you returned in the vulnerability list? Is there any severity information about that item?
Yeah, currently we don't assign a severity to these items. Yeah,
Okay.
they are all unknown.
Yeah, well,
but in our
the reason why I ask you
in our product interface, we have a
the reason why I ask you this question because the overall severity of one artifact is calculated based on that vulnerability list, right? So if your data influences the overall vulnerability list, that may influence the overall severity of the artifact evaluation, right? But you know, your new items are not CVE, right? So I just want to confirm those non-CVE items have any severity information, right?
Yes, currently in the Harbor interface, we don't assign a severity for these items. Okay. But in our product interface, we have another interface to we divide them into two parts. Okay. What do you suggest? You think we should add? We should come up with some ways to calculate the severity. Is that a possible solution?
No, our severity calculation is based on the standard CVE severity, not you know. I think these items you added into the list have no, you know, standard severity information, right? So I'm afraid that those items may influence the overall severity calculation process. For example, there is 10 and but based on your scanner, there will be maybe return more than 10, right? So I'm afraid that maybe the overall severity of the artifact, you know, maybe not accurate or precise.
Yes, sure. I think I get your point. So my question is how the overall severity is accumulated. I mean the result. How did you compute that?
Yeah, that's totally based on the severity of the vulnerability items. For example, if there is more than one critical, the overall severity will be marked as a critical, right? If no critical, more than one high, that will be marked as a high. So that's you know, one by one, step by step.
Okay. So basically, you're not counting how many items in the list, right?
Yeah, no.
So we don't. So in that sense, if we don't want to kind of enforce these other files like to impact the overall result, then we just tag them as unknown, right? For all of them, and then leave all the CVEs with severity. Is that okay with this case? I think in this case, CVEs still has its severity, but for all those files, we just tag them unknown. I'm not sure whether this is gonna affect all the overall computation of this result.
Yeah, I think I got your point. So all the items you only added is a marker as unknown, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, actually, for the original plan of original design of the pluggable scanner, we support a different report format. Vulnerability is just one of the report format. So in future, if we if we got some new format report from different scanners, we introduce some other report. I think if you read the pluggable scanner spec, you should know, right? There will different report memo type definitions. So I think for
it shouldn't call the vulnerability. Yeah, it should be called a secrets or sensitive files, something like that.
Yeah. I think that's maybe a new security evaluation format, right? Report format. Yeah, I know currently we don't have any capability to render the new format other than the vulnerability, right? So you just leverage the current vulnerability list to let your new information can render in the Harbor UI, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay. Do you guys have any plan to introduce a new capability to support your scan report? I mean,
you mean change the Harbor UI?
Yeah, I mean in the in the scan related scan API, we introduce a new report memory type to support your extra report, and maybe later we can introduce a UI to support that new format.
So you want us to help you do this, or we just wait? You want us to help you on this?
Yeah, my question is, do you guys are you willing to continue to do contribution to this framework?
Yes, we can do that. Yeah, for this piece, at least for short term, we can try to do that. Yes.
Okay, we can. Yeah, so we can continue
our
discussion offline. Yeah, yeah. Okay, that's my question. Thank you. You can go ahead. Continue your demo. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, I think the demo is simple and I finished it.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions for tensor security?
Do we plan to have a blog based on this new scanner? I mean, from both Harbor and tensor security perspective?
It has not been discussed.
Yeah, I think so far the issue is the data from the scanner is not compatible with the schema in our database, especially after the refactory introduced in 2.2.
Okay, so I think we need to first solve that problem and also solve the format display of the new new format.
Yeah, that's an interesting feature because different scanner vendor may have different way to show their customized vulnerability. So
yeah, I think the current way is not the current way they adopted it's that not make sense, but it seems they leverage our current data scammer because they introduce the new data with a vulnerability, not other different items.
But if you look at the schema of vulnerability record, the CVE ID is not none column.
Yeah, Yeah, but that yeah, I mean their implementation will not break our current DB scammer, but the data in the existing list does not make sense, right? It's easy to cause confluence, right? Confusion.
Correct.
Yeah, I mean, the whole point of allowing multiple scanners is that we can run the same scan, or we can run different scanners on the same set of artifacts, right? And then compare the results. So we need some standardization across the scoring system, right? To be able to accurately reflect like what each vendor thinks of this vulnerability. And then the Harbor admin can make additional decisions based on that. So if there's no way to gather that, to gauge that information from comparing the scan results, then I think we're not getting the maximum value out of this. So we can talk about it offline. And then once this is fixed, then we can do a blog post. Absolutely.
Yeah, Daniel Pekic did not attend this meeting. Actually, I have mentioned this requirement to him. Actually, maybe in future we can consider some further enhancement to introduce, support more different report format, like some, vulnerability, some, bomb, some packet dependencies like this. Yeah.
And also one of the things that we wanted to do was extract the same report from each scanner, right? I think that work is still pending. That hasn't been done yet. And so that's something we can think about for 2.3. Like different vendors right now returning information in different ways. So. But yeah, I think this is really good. This is really cool. And I want to thank you both for coming here, for doing this, and then for coming here and sharing the work that you did. And I think it goes to show that the investments we made around the out of tree interrogation services has been really fruitful. It's basically a few conversations, and then the scanner vendor can go ahead and just implement it based with the adapter. So I think this was a really good model, and we can potentially get a lot more partnerships out of it. So any other questions before I move on to some announcements?
Yeah, maybe I'll have a last question for adding this new type of scanning capability. Do we have to provide like kind of end-to-end support for Harbor, like both the front end and the back end together? For example, given a new type of sensitive file scan list.
I think the work can be split into two parts. For introducing a new memory type to support a new report format, and introduce some new API, or to let allow the API to support the new memory type. That's one part. The another one is let the front end to support that API, right, to render the new data format correctly. So I think there are no tight relationship, right? For the scanner, for the pluggable scanner, I think the first part work is okay, because but if we want to render it, to introduce the enhancements into Harbor Web Console, that's another story. Yeah, that maybe they rely on different release timeline. That's my understanding. Because the Harbor Web Console is also one of the client, right, to consume the scanner API. But yeah, I hope maybe
Got it.
if we have enough time or have enough effort resource, maybe we can complete the end-to-end use case at one time, right?
Sure, we'll try to do that. We can maybe iron out the details offline for this.
Yeah, that's
I think you are also encouraged to involve all the UI implementation if you have resources. So
Sure.
All right, thank you. Thanks for the presentation. So just a few last minute items, announcements. Harbor 2.2 is going to be out soon, so I think we'll cut an FC. Is it within the next week, guys? Next week or two? Because I know
we've already FC. We were gonna have an RC hopefully this week.
Sorry, RC. Yeah, when is the RC coming out?
We need to check on Friday, so it's really close.
Okay. Yeah, so watch for the release page on GitHub, and we're planning on GAing the 2.2 after Chinese New Year. So sometime in we don't have the exact date yet, but before the end of February, if I'm not mistaken. We also have a discussions page. Daniel, do you have the link that you can paste here? That we're using to collect issues for the upcoming 2.3. So
give me a second.
Yeah, go ahead. So yeah, we already have a couple things that we know we want to work on for 2.3, but kind of see if there's anything more urgent from you guys, and we can try to prioritize into the release as well.
Yeah, if you click the second item, you can see there's a discussion. Hopefully, we wanna move some of the issues to the discussion area. If you have questions or some open topic want to discuss with the community and maintainers, you open a thread in the discussion so the issues can be focused on the bugs or changes require code changes rather than asking questions.
But is this purely for 2.3, right?
I hope it's not. I hope in the midterm or long term, we can have two category of threads. One is the issue, the other is discussion. Discussion for discussion and the issue for tracking the engineering work or bugs.
Okay, so I got it wrong. So 2.3. So discussions page has nothing to do with a particular release. It's just a place to, like, I'm trying to figure out what are we not doing? What are we not able to do for the users on the issues page that we have to have a discussions page? Like, what is the difference between the two?
Yeah, I think a problem with the issues page is that people asking questions, hopefully we can move the question to this discussion area. So that part is for people to discuss, and issues are meant to focus on the technical or engineering work. Okay. I just happened to find GitHub had this section available like in last year. So I just enabled it in our repo and see how that worked for us.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Yeah, and so none of us have used it before. Let's give it a try. To everyone who's interested, let's look at how, how's it different from issues? What can we do in discussions that we couldn't do in issues? I'm open to it, and I hope everyone, feel free to test it out, or if you've been using discussions or experienced with how that works, let's give it a shot. So, anything else from the Harbor team or from Jonas?
Nothing from me.
I have a question. Is how long is the the period for the soliciting the requirement for 2.3? Is there a deadline, or what's the timeline looks like?
There is no official timeline. You mean for when we decide on what's going to be in 2.3?
We ask people to put in their comment or suggestions on the 2.3.0 release, then do we have a deadline or sometime that will be falling to the next release, or it's too late to submit any suggestions?
For the most part, we encourage everyone to submit these as soon as possible before the 2.3 release actually starts. So before end of February, when 2.2 goes out. It doesn't. The priority is constantly shifting, right? So I would encourage you to submit it anytime. If we don't make it into 2.3, then we have a head start on prioritizing it for 2.4 or potentially for a patch release of 2.3, right? It doesn't have to be 2.3.0. Maybe it goes down 2.3.1, which is a month after the 2.3.0. If it's a smaller thing and maybe the issue has certain implications to other issues, it can help us get a better picture. Or if it's just something that we have the capacity for, then we can add it, even if it's raised after 2.3 officially begins. But the sooner the better, because we'll be doing some kind of a 1-page stack rank of all the features for 2.3, especially the big ones, right? Like the way Harbor the feature grooming works is we usually have 1 or 2 at least anchor features that takes a significant amount of time, and then we have smaller features and sort of prioritize around those to help round out the entire release. So if it's something that's going to take a lot of effort, then the sooner the better.
Right. Okay.
Basically, because we want to have some release in around May, so basically we are looking for the feature be identified in end of February due to the Chinese Spring Festival, so that we have enough develop cycles to complete all the planned features.
Right. Yeah. So if anyone has the some kind of idea or some new requirement, then you will come to this discussion section, or we still encourage going for the issue? What's the preferred way to do it?
So I think, don't think of discussions as the place to raise 2.3 issues. It's like Daniel said, discussions is meant for something else. I haven't looked into the point of discussions on GitHub yet. I'll look into it, but I would encourage everyone else to do the same and figure out what is the delineation between issues and discussions, because I think issues for the most part can cover like 90% of our requirements, right? We've had some really good discussions, big discussions on issues as well, but maybe discussions has more functionalities that we're not aware of yet. So
yeah, you can move issues to discussions as well. Discussions are very useful if there's like long form discussions that you want to have about a certain thing that might not necessarily be an issue per se. And I believe you can move it back to an issue as well. So cool. you can tie them together, so you can have discussions on top of an issue without making the issue be 14 pages long.
Yeah. Got it. Got it.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah. I'm thinking to just let the Harbor community user know about this, so they can just if they're interested, they can just come in and put in something for this in the discussion section, and also provide some of the suggestion for 2.3.0. Then so we can just call for them to participate for this collection of the idea.
I think that's a great idea. Yeah. Well, I'll put this discussions link in the community meeting notes, and then we'll also make an announcement in the Slack channels.
Yeah.
Telling everyone about 2.3 and this,
Yes,
you know,
2.3 is
discussions.
open for or something for suggestion, open for anything, right? Open for discussion, and then
Right.
people can jump in and put in their thinking.
Exactly. Yep. So 2.3 is also going to be around 3 months.
Mhm.
We want to have a demoable build around the next KubeCon, but the actual GA could be, you know, a well after that, between, you know, FC and GA. So another 3 months. The Harvard team, you know, we did some basic retrospective for 2020, and yeah, I think this is a good time to call out that, you know, we delivered a lot of compelling features, but we only had 2 big releases, right? So we had the 2.0 in May of 2020, and then we had the 2.1, and now 2.2 is spilling over into 2021. We want to do a better job of making sure we have 3 minor releases in this year, in this calendar year, and not just 2, because I think, you know, it sometimes we deliver a lot of features in one release, but I think, you know, for certain users in certain companies, they prefer a shorter release, more upgrades. So we'll think about 3 releases for this year. That's a goal for our team. So potentially the 2.2 in end of February and another one in June. And then the third one will be right around the time of the North America KubeCon. So just a heads up.
Yeah. Cool.
So that's everything I have. Does anyone else have any questions or anything else you want to share about Harbor? All right, we can end here. Thanks everyone for attending. Have a good rest of your day. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye bye.